Good day everybody, my name is Dean and welcome to the second part of our first Adroit online training video. This video was recorded during an online training session, how to create a new maps template. For those of you not familiar with the maps product, I recommend that you head on over to the Adroit website www.adroit.co.za. This video has been recorded in two parts. The first part showed you how to prepare the three aspects which are required for a new maps template. In part 2 of this video, we will be showing you how to take the three different components that were created in part 1 and add them to the maps library. Please be advised that Adroit will assist you in adding your new templates to the maps library if required. So now I will hand over to Vainant, who will guide us through this process.
I'm going to start off and show to you how we would define this map this object, these individual objects now, as a single maps template. Okay, so there's a couple of things that we require for this to become a template. The first thing, we need to know what signals is involved in this function block. So what we've done, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to just open up Excel for now, and then I'm going to go to IEC Developer. I'm going to open up my DUT and open up my sample star DUT. The next thing is I'm going to shift and select everything, and I'm just going to go and press Ctrl C to copy, and then go back to Excel and Ctrl V to paste the structure down. So this is basically the layout of what the structure looks like. I'm going to delete the top cell to move all the comments in line, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of all the empty spaces in between. The reason why I'm doing this is, if I define my template, I also need to define signals associated with that template, and we have already written a import utility that can understand the structure of the DUT to make it a little bit easier than to typing it or adding every signal individually. So I know this is time consuming, so bear with me. Okay, the next thing we're going to need is we need some dedicated headers for this. So I'm just going to copy that from my existing template. And we have a table called template signal ID, and a column called PLC data, and then the comment. So this spreadsheet we will rename to DUT for my data structure. The other piece of information we're going to require is what the global variable looks like. We're also going to need the local variable data, and last but not least we're going to need the function block layout. So on my global variable, once again Ctrl C, this takes the intermediate part where I need to paste the global variable down. Okay, for now I'm just going to leave this open because we need to physically manipulate and find and replace data inside the string for maps to work. So I'm actually going to go to the next part, which is my header. All we require out of the header data is that we have to define a function block instance with the device name, and it's of type sample start. So this is the data we're going to require on my local variable. And the database and the maps database also need to know what the physical layout is of the function block. So we need to also select that, Control C to copy. And we need to paste it down. So it needs to know this character strings of what the function block actually looks like at the end of the day. So we don't need the body and the workspace data. We need from the network down to the end of the network. Then what we also need to do is the function block instance, we need to specify that this will be the device name. And the data itself, it will create a global variable with the device name and then use its field input. Also the field output. The control word and the status word. So for the global variable we're going to create data, and we're going to call it, and also with the physical device name or the equipment name that we're going to specify inside the maps project at the end of the day. So now to get to that is you have to right click on data sources, add a data source, and there will be a data source called maps templates. I've already added it into mine, so you'll see that I have a maps templates data source, and that will consist out of my system templates that is already in the system and custom templates that we are going to define. So now the next step is I'm going to say right click on the custom templates, and I'm going to the first thing I need to do is I need to create agents. Okay, so there's actually multiple ways of approaching this, but the way I'm going to show you is when you look at a maps template, it consists out of the graphic, the function block, and the tags or the agents that links the function block to the graphic. So each of these agents will have a specific type. So what we've done is, because I've defined the agent inside the Adroit agent server, I can actually go and read what those agents should look like. So I'm going to read the template to see what it looks like at the end of the day. So the first thing I need to do is I need to say custom agent templates. So once again, right click, manage agents, custom agents, and I'm going to create a new agent. My agent is going to be of type Marshall because that's the one that we've defined. The name is sample start control word, for instance. Its suffix will be whatever my device is, SCADA control word 1. And we give it a suffix description. They will have a layout of what the Marshall actually looks like. So I have got a button here that will import data from my agent server. So I can go to marshals, and you'll see that those are the two marshals that I've defined now when we did the test to see that the graphic actually works and that the function block ties up with it. So I can select my control word, and that will actually bring in the data that I typed into my Adroit configurator. So I'm just going to finish that. So what we've actually done is I went into the Adroit agent server, I went to marshals, and I read the data out of this control word to create a template for that agent. So we're going to do exactly the same with the status word. So once again, I'm going to define a new agent. It's of type marshal. It is sample start status word. And once again, I'm going to look it up and read it out of my current agent server to bring me my statuses back for each and every bit. Okay, so now I've defined what the agent would look like. The next thing is I'm now going to add my template. So first of all, I'm going to say I'm going to create a new template. You'll see that the template ID is 1001 because all custom agents will start from 1000 and above. So now we need to call this sample start, and we give it a description. And then we specify, does this fall into the category of electrical or instrumentation? So I'm just going to put it into instrumentation for the moment. The next part is where we need to configure the signals for the sample start. So this is where I will now reference this DUT table. So I'm just going to save this. So what we need to do is I need to define that this is going to be my template signal ID 1001, and it's going to be the first signal. Second signal, the third signal, that is a marshal. So the next one will be signal 3, but its first bit. My status word and all its bits. So we save this. Okay. So I have my field input, my field output, and I only have two control words. So this is a digital in, this is a digital out, so we don't have to specify anything. This is a control word and this is a status word. So now we need to go and define what these signals will actually do. So I have to go and edit all the signals that says SCLs or SSL. So editing the first SCL to specify that it is the scalar control word. It's a 16-bit register. It is of type marshal. It scans an integer. The next part is I need to specify what the agent is going to look like for this marshal. So this will now be my sample start control word that we built in when I said manage agents. The next thing is the scan template. So how will this be scanned? So the data will be scanned to its raw value slot and on a rate of 500 milliseconds, and it will be output enabled. We're not doing anything with alarming and not doing anything with logging, so we can just finish that. And then on the status word we need to do the same. So it's a 16-bit register again, it's a Marshall, it's of type integer. Then we have to specify the status word. We need to specify that it's being scanned as a status word, which means it's not output enabled. And that will be my signal configuration. Okay. So now what you'll see is under custom templates we have instrumentation, we have sample start. It has one digital input, one digital output, one SCADA control word, one status word, and now we need to define the PLC data required for this. So I'm right clicking on the sample start, going to properties. The first thing it's going to ask me is for my global variable data. Now what I've said is we haven't manipulated the global variable data because this all needs to be substituted. This needs to be changed to the template signal ID out of the database for that specific instance. So this is all a manual process, and I know it is quite tedious, but until we have tighter integration into GXWorks, this is the way we need to define templates at the moment. And the last one. Okay. So now I can say Control A, copy, and stick that into the global variable data. The next part is my function block variable data that we've already done. And the last is the function block data. Okay, now if I go back to maps, and I go to instrumentation, you'll see that there's a sample start template in there. If I right click and say template graphics, and I say update, it will go and read my graphic that I defined for that specific template. And now that is a full-on maps template. So in other words, if I go and create a project, we create the PLC, specify inputs, and outputs, specify a unit, it's not electrical, it is instrumentation. We should have sample start, and now I can say I have 5 of them. Select the graphic that it should use. That in theory then should create my PLC with my unit and my 5 pieces of equipment. If I open up my unit graphic form, I should have 5 instances of my start function block. I can then say build the IEC project.
Thank you, Venant. So that is how to take the function block, graphic and agent server configuration and create a new template in the Maps library. Well, that's it for part 2 of how to create a new Maps template. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to hear from you in the comment section. Thank you for watching.